Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and today we're back with another simulated universe clear guide with a free-to-play comp. As you can see here, I'm basically using the Astro Express clue plus Natasha, and I'm going to be sharing with my thoughts how to actually defeat this boss. As you can see here, I'm filming this before the fact, which is why I'm going to explain to you the thought process and how it works before actually tackling the boss. I'm quite confident in beating the boss, so we can see in this video it's all going to be in one clip as well. So the strategy, I'll just give you the TLDR first. I'm using the path of preservation. I tried other paths, but the main reason why preservation outperforms the other paths is because it's both a defensive as well as an offensive path, which is what the Ebon deer's stage is. The second phase for the Ebon deer really is about healing and sustaining itself, which is why you need that DPS check to defeat the Ebon deer in the second phase. In the third phase of the Ebon deer is he has this like very huge DPS that does that one shot damage, and we need to survive that one shot. And preservation compared to destruction path is also a hybrid between offense and defense, but the downside of the path of destruction is you're always playing at low life, which you can easily get one-shotted in the final wave. Preservation, on the other hand, has a very strong ability that it allows you to give a lot of shield on your whole team, as well as you deal damage based on the amount of shield that you have. This makes it slightly offensive, but very, very defensive as well. So I got all three here of the paths, but I'm going to tell you which are the more important ones and which are not really important. This one I would say is the least important out of all. It just gives the explosion from the path of resonance to do some crit damage. It just increases the DPS, which might help in the second set, but I don't think it's very important, especially if you have stronger DPS characters. You probably don't really need to rely on this as well. For this one here, as you can see, all allies gain a shield that absorbs damage equal to 1% of their max HP as well. This is very, very nice, but what is more important is this Amber ability. When a character with a shield receives damage that exceeds max damage, it immediately invalidates the excess damage. What this means is that one-shot damage, as long as all of your characters have a bit of shield, for example like Fire MC's shield throughout, all the extra damage just goes away and you don't get one-shotted by that as a result. So I think this is insane strong. Probably the most important if you are maybe not interested in running the full preservation stat as well. So this one, take this center one, super important. Last but not least, I think this is kind of like the middle ground. It gives you a lot more regen here, as you can see. Regenerates 40% straight up once you start, and once ally gains a shield, it gains additional restoration. So if you have characters like Fire MC, like Japart, Mark 7, you're playing with them, I think it's super good because it very, very quickly tops it up to do a lot more damage from like the main explosion set that you have. So that is pretty much like the why I chose Path of Destruction logic. You will see it in action in a little bit in the action scene, but let me just share with you like what are my thought process going through, what buffs am I picking up and why I'm picking up. So first off, for the Path of Destruction buffs here, I'm going to tell you which is the important ones that I took up and what I think is like not super important in case some of you are flowing through the battle. To give you like a long story short, you want to look for stuff that either help your characters survive damage, or two, help them burst damage or control the enemies. Which is why, let me just talk briefly about the minor ones. With Might 7, Frozen is definitely a possibility. So I took Frozen, I even enhanced it to give a bit more freezing chance as well. Apply Ice Weakness means that you get to freeze them once they break from Might 7 as well. I think these are good additions to have. Not super key, but it's interesting to have as a side bonus to the main tactic of preservation. Other than that, Nihility here, I chose this one because when you have weakness broken on one enemy, it goes all across the board. So if you freeze one, I guess you will freeze the rest as the adjacent ones too. So it's even more utility for what we have here, synergetic as well with the overall playstyle. Again, for Abundance, the buffs that I chose is, you can see full HP, you reduce damage, you increase their resistances as well. This is also in line with trying to resist a one-shot, just in case any character doesn't have a shield at a point of bursting. So that's why I like this kind of setup. Increase healing just to sustain up when they drop too low. And last but not least, of course, restore additional HP when you provide healing, just increasing the survivability of the overall team, especially if you are slightly underleveled. I think this is going to be quite good value. For Huynh here, I think I had no choice but to pick something, so I chose this. It's not very important. You defeat an enemy, you regenerate energy. The Ebon Deer does summon those side mobs, so I would assume that they do get quite decent amount of refund. That's why I didn't mind picking this out of all of them rather than something else. Other than that, I chose this one here. When your HP is lower than 50%, you gain a shield that absorbs some damage also. It really in line with trying to survive in using a lot of these like bonus tracers just to offer a bit more control. Because if you manage to freeze that plant that heals in the second phase, the one with the flowers on it, means that the Ebon deer doesn't heal up too much, which is in a sense also offensive in a sense. That's why I like freeze as well as a side bonus. So in terms of the main preservation ones, you will want to go as far as you can, try to get all of the blessings here that you can, because all of them do add some value in some way as mentioned in the start. But let me just tell you like which is the more important ones. I think that Quake is super good. Quake gives you more damage. Basically, I think I can't click it here. Oh yeah, I can. So it's basically additional damage based on like the number of shield that you have, especially if you have good shielders. Maybe you're playing March 7, Fire MC. Maybe not so much Fire MC, but more of March 7. You do get a lot of damage done from the defensive position that you're in. So these three are mostly just the preservation stuff. Let's just scroll down real quick. So as you can see, quick damage equal to the current shield. You basically deal the quick damage back to the attacker. Also very strong. Deal 10% increase quick damage. Enemies adjacent also, so just DPS. So these three, as you can see, are like DPS, DPS, DPS to really combat what we took in the other side and the overall thematic of the game. You want to rely on shields to do damage, rely on shields to survive. Here also, damage increase based on defense, again very strong. Shielded characters increase damage, also decent to have, especially if you are maybe shielding up. In this case, I'm shielding up Danheng, who benefits from this additional one too. And max damage absorbed by shield against survivability, provides a shield, also like survivability, so it's pretty good. This one is probably not very important because it's upon entering battle. I would say this is quite useless. If you see it, you can probably ditch it for something else, unless you're trying to like push to the max all of the defense, the preservation buffs, then it's probably useful. Other than that, not that good. Shielded characters, less damage here, again defensive. And here, applying weakness break on an enemy, characters gain a shield, also more sustain. When the character gains a shield, dispel debuffs, again good also for more survivability. Crit rate, offensive, and of course defense. You will definitely get these max stacks, so you get more defense for your team. If you're playing like Fire MC or March 7 or Japat, it adds up to damage as well because of defense. Characters attack, they gain a shield. Again, this is also very good, especially if you're taking a lot of damage that penetrates through the shield. At least you get to heal it up. And last but not least, like a bit more offense. I think this is okay as well, but definitely you can see this is the offensive ones are not as important in my opinion compared to the defensive ones, especially if you're running already very strong characters. The reason why I needed to build a very as you can see, very hybrid path which focuses both on attack and defense is because I'm playing free-to-play characters and they aren't really well built. Like Danheng is 71, March 7 is like 71, Tasha 71. Fire MC is 80, but as you can see from the tracers here, I don't have her very well built, like 3444, and even with Eidolons also not super, like I only have her at Eidolon 1, so it's quite pathetic kind of investment level. As you can see here, my gear is not really even complete, I'm just using whatever I have. Danheng's gear here of course is, although it's maxed out, but he's the DPS, so it's pretty decent here. Again, March 7 here, she's not even using a full piece, she's like using this one here. Maybe I should just switch it just to clear the floor. But I don't think I have a chest that I want to use here too. Yeah, so maybe I'll just give her this for some defense to get going. And other than that, I think it's more or less okay. Natasha here, you can see her tracers, the levels of their tracers as well. Relics, not all of them are plus 15, so you can see the level of investment. Although one thing I must add is they are all E6 in terms of their overall investment, but as you can see, they don't really add too much for the Eidolons. Most of it is going to come from the preservation buffs, which is I'm quite confident a lot of people will be able to tackle it, especially if you play March 7 Fire MC. The preservation path is very useful, and I'm using the free play Cruising in Stellar Sea. I'm using Landau's Choice here just for more damage reduction on March 7, some more healing, and Day 1 of my new life for damage reduction throughout the team as well. So I guess that's enough talking. Let's go ahead and go in and see exactly how we perform. And yeah, I will leave commentary into parts that matter. Other than that, I will probably just let the video play as well. See you in a bit.
Will of preservation.
This will strengthen our position.
Freeze.
Move carefully. The truth of life is sexual. It's but a vision.
Here! Time for nap time. You can't run! Gotta try hard sometimes. Watch this awesome move!
Lance ablaze! Lance forward! Lance at the ready. Lance ablaze! Lance forward!
I would say the first phase is pretty easy, quite straightforward, because as you can see, Mach 7 easily controls all of them. You do the AoE burst damage with the amount of shielding that we have. You do most of the damage actually coming from like the Path of Destruction, as you saw, like 60k, 60k plus, very easy. All I just want to do is just maintain the shield uptime on my units so that we're able to do more. As you can see, there's a huge chunk of like almost a 3700 shield right there.
Fighting is meaningless.
Try that again!
So I try to keep like my Path of Preservation here on. Only once I, for example, like if I have side mobs that I need to clear, then I'll use it. But pretty much, as you can see, quite a straightforward fight. Nothing too stressful for the first phase at least.
The truth of life is sexual. It's but a vision.
Naughty child, nap time. Gotta try hard. Watch this awesome move! Try that again!
Fighting is meaningless.
Lance at the ready.
Tough luck running into me! Time for a shot. You can't run! Try that again!
Not a scratch.
You can't run!
So as you can see, a lot of quick damage is actually getting reflected. If you notice, every time they attack, they do get some damage. And every time I attack, if there's a shield, it also splashes onto a lot of them. Super strong in my opinion, like the ability to control. So now real quick, I'm just going to control this. This is the one that heals. So you want to try to either get rid of it or make sure it's like frozen as soon as possible.
Lance ablaze! Lance forward!
As you notice here, I'm not pressing this Path of Preservation yet because I only have shields on these two characters. So I'm just waiting for Mach 7 to get a turn, maybe shield herself or Natasha up, and then we will continue with the DPS.
The truth of life and death is sexual. It's but a vision. I've no interest in conflict.
You can't run!
Okay.
Try that again!
I'm on guard.
Fighting is meaningless.
So this is the difficult part for the second phase. There's this healing that comes from the tree and also that side branch that has. So thankfully Mach 7 recovers here, but sadly all their shields are gone. I'm just going to go ahead and shield Mach 7 real quick. Put up this freeze.
Watch this awesome move!
And I don't want them to heal, so let's just see. So it got frozen, so I'm fine with that as well. So let me just continue the DPS right now.
The truth of life and death is sexual.
So as you can see, like phase 2 is kind of like a bit of control. You just want to make sure this guy doesn't move and heal up the whole party. And other than that, it's just going to be DPS. But maybe here I'm just going to break here, burst this, and I'm going to just use the preservation buff because we're wasting a lot of DPS by just keeping it hanging. Sadly, the reason why I had to delay so long is because she actually got aggroed and had that like aggro mode where I can't allow her to shield the party. So that was the reason why. So that's like a demonstration how much it can heal. It's like 36k heal, which is quite massive.
Naughty child. Try that again. Gotta try hard. Watch this awesome move.
Lance at the ready.
My turn.
So the thing about March 7 shield is even though she draws aggro, but if everyone has the shield up, technically no one is really truly drawing the aggro.
Watch this awesome move.
Fighting is meaningless. The truth of life is sanctuary. It's but a vision. I've no interest in conflict.
I'm on guard.
Yeah, I'm just gonna auto to get some skill points.
Not a scratch.
You can't run.
Okay.
Try that again.
Fighting is meaningless.
You can't run.
Why not freeze?
It's time. Lance ablaze. Lance forward.
Time for a shot. Now.
I've no interest in conflict. The truth of life is sanctuary. It's but a vision.
Gotta try hard. Watch this.
One thing I wish is if you press the ultimate by accident, I hope there was an ability to unuse it. Can I press escape? Nah, it doesn't work. So that's one thing I wish they added eventually into the game.
Thanks a lot. My
Just slowing this plant down.
tough luck running into me. Here. Gotta try hard. Watch this awesome move. Naughty child. Nap time.
The truth of life and death is sanctuary. It's but a vision.
Lance at the ready.
You can't run.
Lance ablaze. Lance forward.
My turn.
So I have it out ready, but I mean it's almost gonna die, so I'm just gonna keep it for the next one. Just gonna shield out Fire MC.
Try that again.
Fighting is meaningless.
Time for a shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna just commit.
This awesome move. Told you I could fight. Here.
I'm on guard.
No interest.
So I have no harm using this because the phase 4 is more of a DPS check. So this is more to get rid of the damage in the second phase, or the sustain that it has in the second phase, so I don't mind just using it a bit here. What I want is the freeze, but sadly she's being controlled right now.
Naughty child.
The one I'm looking out for is like this plant. So if any of the order changes, where I need to maybe quickly kill it before it heals up again, then I'll take note.
The truth of life and death. The sanctuary is but a vision. Break!
Okay.
Just a little something. Thanks a lot.
Alright, phase 3. There's a devastating one-shot here, so this is the one that we built our entire roster for. So let's see how it helps us here.
Gotta try hard sometimes. Watch this awesome move.
Lance ablaze. Lance forward.
Here. You can't run. Gotta try hard. Watch this awesome move.
Fighting is meaningless. The truth of life and the sanctuary is but a vision. Break!
Time for a shot. Now. Tough luck running into me. You can't run. Try that again. You can't run.
Lance ablaze. Lance forward.
Gotta try hard sometimes. Watch this awesome move. Naughty child.
No interest in conflict.
So I think this is too much control. Maybe for the next boss, when he charges up, when he summons the next one, I'll actually intentionally not kill off the sides, because the side minions are actually the one that gives it the power to like one-shot your whole team. So this is just showing you that it's very easy. I can even probably auto-battle this the way I'm seeing it. But yeah, I want to show at least it is able to sustain that damage from the one-shot.
The truth of life and the sanctuary is but a vision. Break!
As you can see, it's like kind of OP. So yeah, I'm probably going to just let these guys go through and risk the run, but I think it's useful to take a look.
Lance ablaze. Lance forward.
Try that again. That's better.
Don't worry about me.
You're annoying.
Too late to repent.
Tough.
Lance at the ready.
Yep, so it's almost about to explode, so I'm just going to prepare for the attack.
Just a little something. Naughty child.
Don't worry about me.
Okay, so that's an example of me throwing my run, or somewhat. But basically now I'm going to actually show you how I can actually just come back from this quite well.
Lance ablaze. Lance forward.
With just two defensive characters. Of course, I think the other two lost their shields halfway. That's why the preservation bonus didn't kick in. But I'm going to just show you how it's quite easy to come back from this still. Of course, the shielding does make a difference from E6 of March 7 because it heals based on... it heals periodically as well. But you can see here I didn't really take any damage, so that E6 March 7 doesn't make too much of a difference.
Try that again. Tough luck running into me. Here.
And GG. Well, yeah, if you found it helpful, do leave me a like, comment, and subscribe for more of such future content as well. We do a lot of other Honkai Star Rail guides on the channel, so go ahead, check us out too. Meanwhile, check out these 2 other videos which I think you might be interested in. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.